WV Uncommon Place. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommon Place digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our Uncommon Place.
Howdy, welcome back to West Virginia Uncommon Place. This is JR. We are inside of the top 10 video games of all time, in my opinion. And I thank you for continuing to listen. And I know this is a lengthy process, but I wanted to get all these little episodes out and to the public so people could have a little something to listen to, something just quick to grab onto, know a little bit about me at the same time, and know a little bit about my video game history. This game right here is very important to me because this is the 3D format of fighting games for me. I played the original game, which is Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter did nothing for me. It was nothing revolutionary about that, but Virtual Fighter 2. 1994 once again. Now this game, played it in the arcades, and I'm telling you, I dogged it in the arcades. I got good. I played with a character named Akira. You wouldn't beat me at one point. Then I got it on Sega Saturn, and then that's where I started getting my chops good. I played it. It was one of the first fighting games beyond Street Fighter, because Mortal Kombat was fun, but Virtual Fighter had replay value because I was trying to beat that game so I could get to Doral and beat Doral under the water and try to sidestep and do this and that. And at the same time, I was looking at playing Tekken. I was playing Tekken in the arcade too, but Tekken just wasn't the same as Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter did have a limitation of the ring. You could fall out the ring. You could fall into the water. You could fall out of the ring. Some people were smart enough to use this to their advantage. Some people developed enough strategies that they could kick you hard enough in certain places and hit you with these weird kicks, some of the other martial artists, and make you lose the game quick. This game gave me technique and made me realize that there were certain characters you play with, certain characters you don't play with, and some characters that are really cheap. And the cheap characters were the ones that pretty much worked out pretty well. The drunk fighter on the game, he was probably one of the most cheapest, but he had moves that could get you in and out and then could evade. This game taught me to block hits and not take a lot of different types of hits that you normally take, because in Street Fighter and different games, you parry and do different things like that. But on this one, I was really blocking things. And as soon as I blocked the hit and it nullified what they were doing, I would hit them with a combo. You could air juggle on this game, just like you could on Street Fighter if you knew how to do that properly. But what made this game set out for me was growing up, we would have a competition in my house to see who was the best, who wanted to play, who was good. And once again, big shout out to Microsoft, because before this game got, it's not delisted yet. It's still actually, you can buy it on Series X on the store. In this game on my Xbox, and I can still play it to this day. Graphically, it was one of the games that did not hold up against time. It was, a great game. And that being said, that kind of gives you kind of feel how these lists go for me. With this game right here, I think this was one of the first games that I took my allowance and bought. Because my mom bought me the Sega Saturn, and that thing was expensive. And I remember my neighbors after school, after we were done with our homework, we would get in there and we would play this game. We would get into this game so heavy that we could spend endless hours playing against each other. And that's something that, there's still replay value, but couch co-op was something when I was young that was very important to me. It was important to be able to play a game against your homie, or against your sister, against your aunt, whoever. I was basically able to give out those ass whoopings the right way they needed to, or I got served sometimes. And when I got served, I needed to get that run back. So when I needed to get that run back, I'd run it up on them, probably get one of the father-daughter combos and hit you with, at least on Sega Saturn, I would hold the A and C button and they do like this whirlwind kick that would knock the shit out of you. hit you with that. And then this game, if you hit the up and B button, when the person's on the ground, they'll jump in the air and then do a diving move on them. So I do a dump and jive and like hit him in the face, like boom. And it was just that, those dynamics and those mechanics of those Virtual Fighter games that just stuck with me and stayed with me. The reason that it's not higher up on my list is because, once again, it had a good fun factor to it. But after Virtual Fighter 2, I can honestly say I do have Virtual Fighter 5, I think. After Virtual Fighter 2, I could never, ever really get deep into Virtual Fighter games again. Tekken overtook that, and Street Fighter and other games moved into a bigger and better realm. Sega didn't keep it up for me with Virtual Fighter. But on that note, I am JR from West Virginia and Commonplace, and once again, this is the top 10 video games of all time. Sitting here with number 8, Virtual Fighter 2.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at onecommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.